What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video for the First Descendant today, we are revisiting Old Faithful, a weapon which I hold to extremely high regard, Enduring Legacy. Now, with the release of Season 2, we saw a whole bunch of new mods added to the game, gold mods which can be used on weapons, and it's because of one of these mods that I decided to revisit this build and essentially make a change, thereby elevating the damage profile that this weapon has. Now, for weeks already, I've been thinking that eventually they are going to rein Enduring Legacy in, since it is, in my opinion, the most consistent gun in terms of like just really consistent weapon-based bullet damage in the game. And it is really good in every single Descendant, pretty much. But when you put it in the right Descendant, like Haley, Enzo, and Valby, it actually becomes a fucking buzzsaw. So the point is that I wanted to see if this mod would make this weapon better, and the good news is it absolutely does. So this allows you to pretty much one mag a lot of the early Void Intercept bosses, and it's just a really powerful DPS choice for some of the later ones where you're in teams where you can really bring a lot of additional damage to the team makeup, like for example Deathstalker and so on. All in all, it's also just a really comfortable weapon to use in the open world against tough bosses, yellow bars, things like that. The one problem, of course, that this weapon does is it's not necessarily the best choice for mobbing, although you do have a fairly large magazine, so you can mow down a whole bunch of fucking enemies and your bullets hit really hard. So, you know, it might not be too flashy like something like Thunder Cage, but it gets the job done. So first things first, if you're not familiar with Enduring Legacy, let's just go ahead and quickly check out what exactly its unique ability does. The good news is the unique effect is very straightforward, so it's not going to be very difficult for us to understand. Basically, the premise is this weapon is very much suited for elemental attacks being part of your mod combination, and absolutely fire seems to be the best one, especially based on the fact that we actually get additional effects if we shoot enemies that are burning. So the point here being that once you start shooting enemies, you build up stacks. These stacks actually reduce the fire resistance of the target that you're hitting, which means if you are dealing fire damage with the weapon, you're also dealing more damage then consequently because of that. And at the same time, you're getting an 11% firearm attack increase if you are hitting enemies that are burning, aka on fire. So super straightforward, even though you can use other elements and you will then be able to benefit from these additional status effect trigger rates. The point is that fire good for Enduring Legacy. So when we want to build it, it's going to be kind of like two choices. I believe, well, three actually, if you want to be fucking wild. But basically the point is you can choose to build this into crit or just into raw power, or you can make some kind of like a fucking middle ground where you go a little bit of crit and a little bit of weak and stuff like that. Now, the build that I'm going to show you today and what's been running in the background whenever you've seen me cutting the fucking head off a Void Intercept boss is actually a build that focuses into crit, because I tend to use this weapon a lot on Enzo, a lot on Haley, and of course they benefit from the fact that they're able to also increase the weapon's fucking performance and crit, so it just works very well together. Now, by default, you have very good modifiers on this weapon to begin with, so it's perfectly suited to build to crit. So we have a 20% critical hit rate just straight off the rip, and then we have a 2.3 multiplier. So we're going to start off with the standard, I would say, 3 mods that you put on every gun ever. And that is, of course, we have fire rate up. So this bad boy here, we have action and reaction, which gives us some more firearm attack and introduces a little bit of additional recoil. And then last but not least, we have a blue mod as well, which does the same thing in terms of giving us more firearm attack. That's just standard 3 mods that you pretty much throw up on every single weapon, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, and even then it's probably still good to do that. Next, we want to increase our magazine size. You can go 2 mods if you want to be really fucking cray, but I feel like just the normal blue mod, expand weapon charge, this one over here, gets us enough bullets, because then we're sitting at 171. Of course, substats play a little bit into this. We'll look at the substat just now, but 171 is super comfortable, and basically you can spray all of that out in, I would say, maybe 10 to 12, 13 seconds or something like that. And so that basically gets the job done and usually deals a whole chunk of damage. Now we want to be messing around with crit and crit multiplier a little bit. So our 2 mods for that is we will use better concentration, okay? which gives us critical hit damage, and then we will use Better Insight, which gives us critical hit rate. Now, with all of that said, we are now sitting on 27.8% critical hit rate and a 4 times multiplier, which is very, very comfortable. Now, I do also throw one more mod on here concerning crits specifically, and that is this one. So, concentration priority. Now, concentration priority massively increases your critical hit damage by a full 120%, but it does affect your reload, and you will now be reloading slower. Now, that does, look, the gun takes super long to reload, but something that you'll see me doing in the footage is I reload cancel. This gun is perfect for that because you have an exceptionally long reload of 3.51 seconds, which is disgusting. So pretty much what you do is you hit your reload and then you wait until you're halfway through the reload, right? Till it's in the middle of the reload bar. And then you can roll, and that's a reload cancel, and that will give you your full mag back and you won't have to wait the whole time. So technically speaking, our reload time is 1.7 seconds if you want to look at that. It is a little bit of muscle memory that you have to get into the whole roll thing, but once you get it done, and this works for any gun, by the way, I'm just telling you to do it with Enduring Legacy, but once you get into the rhythm of doing that, you'll be good to go. Now, because we are focusing on fire and we need a way for this weapon to actually set shit on fire, we need to put in a fire mod. So we need to put in fire enhancement. Fire enhancement is going to give us 30% additional fire damage on top of our DPS, and that is what's going to cause the enemies to burn, and then we're going to get the passive effect from the unique ability and everything, so it's all just really good. Then the next thing that really helps you to deal very sexy damage is Sharp Precision Shot. Now, Sharp Precision Shot drops your fire rate by 20% the minute you pull the trigger. And then the longer you hold it in, the more your fire rate increases, your recoil goes down, so you turn it into a fucking laser beam, and your firearm attack also goes up. Now, you can't spray, you can't burst fire. You have to choose the right moment to dump your entire load onto the boss's face. And so at that point, you press the button in and you hold it, and you don't let go till the boss falls over. That's what Sharp Precision Shot is made for. So don't shoot like 10, 15 bullets and then fucking roll or jump or swing or something like that. When you commit, you commit. So Sharp Precision Shot gives us a kind of like a ramp up to our damage, right? So we're going to start at the lowest point that our damage can be with the gun, and then the longer we hold in the trigger, our damage will ramp up. And you can often see that when you get to like the last 40-50 bullets in the magazine, those really hit like a Mack fucking truck. Now, the mod that came in season 2 is going to allow us to change this so that we don't have a ramp from low damage to high damage, but that we actually start high and then go to medium damage and then go to high again. And how that works, what mod that is this guy, Heat Circulation. This says, upon inflicting burn effect, meaning you set something on fire, it increases your fire attack by 90% basically for 5 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 20 seconds. So the point is that now you don't have this ramp up to big damage, you have big damage, and then by the time this 5 seconds wears off, you're halfway through your magazine, and you're really getting some fucking juice from Sharp Precision Shot, and then you end high again. So this is perfect for this, and like I said, I figured, you know, this weapon would get a nerf, but lo and behold, they give us a mod which actually makes it even more deadly. Now that we have all the mods in, let's quickly talk substats. I think it's pretty straightforward, exactly the 4 that you need for this. Anything else would be suboptimal for this particular build for this, but you definitely want firearm attack, you want critical hit rate, you want critical hit damage, and then you want bonus firearm attack versus Colossus. This weapon can mob, but you use this thing to kill Void Intercept bosses. So the Colossus damage on here is a huge damage boost for us, and these 4 substats are definitely the best 4 that you can get. If for some reason you are only able to roll 3 of these and you're looking for something else that could remotely be okay as well, I suppose you could settle for rounds per magazine and weak point damage, maybe. But definitely try to get these 4 because that will give you your best damage profile. Now, all things done, then we have some very decent stats on this weapon, sitting at just over 30% critical hit rate and a massive 7.6 times multiplier for critical hits when they hit, which is super dope. So this is my preferred setup for Enduring Legacy right now. It's a pity that the new Void Intercept boss we got is super resistant to fire, so we can't test this shit on him. But the next one that comes that might be weak to fire, or at least normal fire defense, will actually be tasting the hot lead that comes out of this weapon. But anything else, right, that doesn't have massive fire resistance is going to fucking cave to this. And I have had situations where I've queued into bosses while I was trying to make footage where 2 to 3 of the other players are running pretty much a similar setup. At the very least, they're running an Enduring Legacy with decent mods on. And it is disgusting, the damage that this pushes out. So super happy with this. It is my favorite weapon in the game. So when my favorite weapon in the game gets some love, fucking daddy's happy. But that's it for the video. I hope you enjoy Enduring Legacy. I hope you're a fan. And please go ahead and let me know in the comments down below for any other weapons that I should be focusing on. I've got a couple of other videos cooking, but I can always bump something up to the top. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Fucking cheers.